His job description you don't hear every day. He's a trainer. He's also a lawyer slash trainer. He won with the first horse he ever sent out as a trainer. The horse was 106 or 108 to 1. And he had $10 on him. It's a good way to start a training career. His training career has gone in fits and starts. He's trained for a while, stopped training for a while, traveled the country, ridden races in Europe. Interesting cat. Ted Maher going to join me here on Midlantic Racing Today. Midlantic Racing Today is powered by the Racing Biz, the racingbiz.com. And today's episode, Delaware Park Today, is presented by our friends at Delaware Park Racing and Casino. My name's Frank Vespi. Ted Maher joining me momentarily, a little bit farther down the road. Stan Salter going to be in. We're going to take a gander at the All-Turf Pick 3 on Saturday at Delaware Park, but mostly we're just going to kind of chit-chat about this and that. So fun conversation there, but let's bring in Ted Maher for an interesting and wide-ranging conversation. Here's Ted Maher. Ted, good to see you. Thanks for joining me here. I want to start with this. You had River Sen in last week in a race that came off the turf. So now she's in a tougher race at Colonial Downs against the boys. You had Future Blues in for Wednesday in a card that's been canceled altogether. When you have a two-horse stable, doesn't take much to get things really go sideways, does it?
No, it doesn't. And it did a bit. But we're working on a new strategy here, and as you said, River Sen is in at Colonial go on Saturday, going to ship Friday, and the race again is a bit tougher, of course, with the money down there. I think you get a lot of people coming from everywhere for this race. But my filly is a pretty fast filly, and she's doing quite well. Running against the boys, to me, that's not the issue. In fact, you get weight for that. If she's good enough, she's good enough. And I think she'll be a bit of a long shot, but I feel like she'll acquit herself fairly well.
And, I thought she was live in the race at Delaware.
Yeah, she was. I'm trying to move on from that and get over that, and then I got to go for 3 days to go. But she was, and she's a nice filly. Private purchased at an online auction in October of 25 to dissolve a partnership. I like the pedigree. An owner friend of mine actually found her, but ended up not buying her. So I bought her myself, and she's a hot sort of filly to train. But she's very, very, she's 5'8" on the, she's a sprinter. She's, me, I usually like everything going long, but she is just a pure sprinter, and she just carries good weight and is all dappled out right now. Mm-hmm. And I like her mind, and she seems very happy. And so I like this filly. She had a nice second against a next out stakes winner at Gulfstream in her first race after about an 8-month layoff. And the horse that beat her, Sunna, came back and won the very one stakes on Black Eyed Susan Day as a favorite, and is now, and then, that horse has won again in like a 3 other than at Churchill since that. Yeah. Yes. And so it's 4 for 4 on the turf. And then she won at Laurel and beat Mopo,
who came back and won the Jamila.
Yeah, so whatever that translates to, I'm hoping that translates to. But so she's nice, yeah. And then Future Blues, actually, with the heat, they canceled Wednesday here at Delaware Park, and the racing office has called me. There's a 12-5 down to 10-2 life on. We entered today for Friday, and I was going to wait for the 75 2 life to come back up, He was a little disappointing. I'd run him on the broke his maiden on the turf for 16 at Gulfstream. I'm sorry, pardon me, Tampa, and had a second against winners at Tampa, and then he was last his last two. And but we've been working on a few things, ulcers maybe. Still trying to sort the horse out a bit, and we're just going to move him to the dirt and drop him, and claiming, and hopefully that's what figures him out. Yeah. So that's what they're doing. The two horse stable.
Well, so the reason you have it's only a 2-horse stable is because you have an interesting other profession other than training horses. You got to be the only guy back there who is also a lawyer.
Probably, definitely Delaware. There may be another guy or two out there somewhere, but yeah, I've done both for quite a long time. Became a lawyer in 1996, and had prior to that worked for Billy Mott and come up through the bottom up with horses and ridden to the point where I was riding amateur races, and then got my trainer's license in 05. And it's kind of been a difficult thing doing both for that entire period, just because they both take a lot of effort. You're trying to do two things.
Sure.
And so that's why I've been keeping it small, 2 to 3 horses for, we're just one person helping you out, and I can do the galloping. And but I'm at the point now, I'm 57. I want to I'm actively got a buyer for my law practice, hopefully, and I just want to end that career. I don't really enjoy it that much anymore, and I just would rather focus on what I enjoy and try to make more of a full go at that, and going forward.
Well, this seems like it's always been sort of the thing you can't quite shake, right?
Right.
Like you go away, then you come back, you go away, you come back.
Yeah, it really has, because every time I think about trying to sell it, then it's you're a little younger, and it's you don't have enough enough money, and you just this game is tough. But this time I'm like 100% on it, and I'm really actively pushing it and figuring out the deals with a couple different buyers, and I just want to get it done and move on. So hopefully by the end of the year I'll have that sold and be, so and we're starting to work on some new stuff with the racing stable with a couple owners that I've a good friend from college that got into racing 3.5 years ago, and he's doing it at a fairly high level. And we've had a horse together in partnership, and the horse did well, Style Me Royal, and he was claimed. Won an allowance race here at Delaware, and so he and I we're in the process of putting like a claiming / but basically horses racing, whether they come from auction, private sale, or claim, a partnership, and to try to get going with something sort of more long term. So that's what's in the works for now.
Okay. Now you got started your introduction to racing, you had a grandfather who was a trainer, right?
Yeah, you remembered. Yeah.
I do my research.
On the Massachusetts sort of New England circuit back in the day, a long time ago, the fairs, Suffolk, Rockingham. And so when I was a little kid, I would go up there in the summers and go to the fairs and hang around with him. And my mom didn't like it very much, but it was so much fun, and it was so colorful, and it just kind of captured captured you, and then I think that was when I got hooked on it and kind of felt a calling. That's why I've always pursued it, I think, because it just was the thing I liked the most when I originally was a kid.
I never got to any of the Massachusetts fairs, but Mike Gorham told me one
Oh
time that
yeah.
some of those fairs, he said, they make Timonium look like Belmont Park. So
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. They do. They're half mile. A lot of them, um, and but really neat. You know, the carnival atmosphere, the fried dough, and and they were like a lot of them had like old buildings, like the wood buildings, the wood open grandstand and everything. And
okay, yeah,
it was just when you're a little kid, you know, and seeing that it was like a carnival like atmosphere with
uh-huh,
everyone, and
uh-huh.
just walking around the backside with my grandfather, and it was too bad they they don't have things like that anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
the purses were like like $1,500 or
right,
less,
right,
but it was a lot of fun in the summer for a
yeah.
kid. Yeah.
Um, so when did you first get on a horse then?
Well, as a little kid, just little ponies and things. Not much. I didn't come up through that whole, uh, you know, pony club and parent. We didn't really have that
Hmm.
growing up in Laurel. But then when I moved to Burtonsville when I was 13, and we got a couple horses. We had 10 acres, and I started. You're a kid. You just go down there. You start putting shanks on either side of the halter and jump on them bareback. And
Right.
then I just started, liking it and riding short. Called my friend, hey, come here, I'll teach you how to ride. Put your irons up real high, and we're gonna go through the woods and races. But then with thoroughbreds, I was late starting. I was in college. It was the summer. I was about 20 years old, and I was at the farm in Kentucky, Pin Oak Stud,
Mm.
and just started with the brood mares and foals, and I just kept bugging them. Let me work with the yearlings. Let me ride the. So they let me start riding the yearlings. So that was my first time on thoroughbreds,
Hmm.
and then finished the last year of college. Went to work for Mott for a year, Hob Walker, then groom, and then he wouldn't let me, of course, start learning to ride at his barn. That's not happening. And then I went back to Maryland and started uh, getting on horses at Bowie,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
learning how to gallop horses at Bowie
Hmm.
when I was like
So
20.
when you were with Mott, is this right? You groomed for a little bit Paradise Creek.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, he was when he was a 2-year-old. I was only
Hmm.
there for like 11 months. So when he was a 2-year-old, but we all knew he was very nice. He ended up, of course, being I think it was 1994. He was
Champion grass
Eclipse
horse. Yep.
champion grass. Yeah, yeah.
Won the
So
came to Laurel and won the DC International.
yeah, right. I think he won 8 grade 1s that year. He was champion. He didn't win the
Wow.
Breeders' Cup. He was like third or something, but he
Hmm.
did win 8 grade 1s on the grass. That really nice horse. Then they sent him to Japan. I think Japanese bought him when the Firestones were dispersing everything for $1 million, and then he had his big year. And the Japanese syndicate bought him for stud, but he never did like anything at stud.
Mm.
It really, he just didn't duplicate himself.
Yeah.
So,
Does it
um,
kind of spoil you though when you're like your first year, you're around horses like Paradise Creek and some others? I mean,
yeah, it was an adjustment to go to Bowie, and then plus I'm the greenest, you know, newest rider there, so I'm getting on the worst horses on the ground.
put Ted on him. He'll get on
It's
anything.
falling off, and I'm like, this is like, but it was so much fun when you're 20 and you're finally riding horses that
Uh-huh.
I didn't really care. But yeah, it's definitely an adjustment with the class of the horses. But how to you just take each one like they come and try to make them the best they can. So I that's what I enjoyed. Trying to figure them out each one and see what makes them tick or what I can do. They can't you can't really make them any faster, but you can make them reach their potential.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just getting them happy most of the time is the main thing that you can
Yeah.
do.
Right.
I mean, everyone can get them fit, so pretty much. So, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remember, like talking about horses, talking about Bowie and horses being happy. Years ago, Damon Dilladovico had Immortal Eyes, who
Oh, right.
he
Yeah.
was able to get that horse, who the horse took to Bowie, and he ran great for Damon. And then got sold when Bobby Abbo passed away, the owner, and went to, I think, Jacobson's barn. Didn't run a step.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember that. Didn't
And
nothing.
they said when they
Nothing.
got him, he was like, well cared for.
Yeah, he
He just
was fine. Same as when he was. Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
wasn't
know.
happy.
Right. Chris and Damon, they seem to. I was stabled next to them at Laurel for a year, and they seem to be able to do well with that. Making certain horses happy, and they develop them, and they do a great job. But
Yeah,
now that you say that, I recall that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So did you rode? I read you rode at the Camptown races one time.
Yeah. I think I rode there like 4 different years.
Oh, really? That
Yeah,
many?
because that was like really what I wanted to do, was ride races, and so the amateur races I rode, for about 5 or 6 years, and
Hmm.
some of the for gentry races, and got to travel to Europe fairly extensively, uh, but Camptown was, they don't have it anymore,
No,
unfortunately.
no.
But it was so much fun. It would be, the Charlestown gate and gate crew,
Mm.
but it was catch weight, so it was just all some professional jockeys, amateurs, guys off farms, and we'd all ride quarter horses, Arabs, thoroughbreds. It was we'd walk the course before the race and pick up the rocks and sticks off the track and everything, and then but they'd have a big crowd up on the hill and barbecues, and
Uh-huh.
it was a lot of fun going there.
Yeah.
I rode my first race there. I think Liz Merriman was on a 6-year-old first time starter in the amateur race, and she let me ride it because I had driven down there just like hoping to get him out. And she, ladies and gentlemen riders, she offered it to me. But now I think she offered it to me because she didn't want to ride the horse. I don't think this thing had ever really broken out of a gate. It might have
Uh-huh.
seen a gate, I don't think it had seen a pony or a gate or a whole lot.
Uh-huh.
But I got my first race under my belt, and that's always like really exciting.
So you got around the course
We
in
made the
one
course. When
piece.
the doors opened, she stood there. But then we got going. Well, I remember like the thing was like rearing up shit. I'm like, oh my god, I got to get on this one. But I got on it, and then the pony guy, like, she was like really tense underneath me. I was just like walking and trying to just take everything real slow and like teach her stuff. And the
Uh-huh.
pony guy like comes up to me. He's like, "Oh yeah, like I hear this is your first race. Like this is my first time ever ponying a horse too." I was like, "Oh, okay, like just stay." He was like 5. I'm like, just stay right there. Don't hook up to me. Like, let's just stay right. And we got her warmed up, and I like got her into a canter. I'm like, okay, she hasn't dropped me. Got her in the
Uh-huh.
gate and everything, and went around there. And that's always, it didn't. We finished last, but she made the course, and
But you finished.
yeah, we finished. I rode her at the end, and I was like, just, it's really like a thrill to ride your first race.
Yeah.
So that was neat.
Do you remember your first win?
Yeah, it was at Colonial the next year. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. At Camptown the next year was an
Oh,
Arabian.
wow.
It was an Arabian. Lynn
Oh, really?
Ashby had 4 in the race, and it was all the amateur riders. It was like me and Chris Grove and George Wood and Mark Sharp, and maybe actually Kim Boniface, who unfortunately is deceased. But
Mhm.
but and these things are all rearing up again in the paddock. And Lynn had told me like, "Oh, yours is 11 years old. Yours is the real classy one." I'm like, "Oh, good." So
Yeah.
like, I just got her away from there like halfway clean, and she kind of took me around there. And then I'll never forget, when when we were turning for home, head and head, another horse around the lead, she dropped back and started to fall in behind the dirt of the horse.
Mhm.
And then I wouldn't give up, and I like yelled, and I pulled her out, and I felt her switch her leads, and then she like kicked back in the
Hmm.
stretch, and then won. So that was my first winter. That
Yeah.
really wasn't under rules, that was more of a,
Yeah.
but and then I had a couple more winners over the years. Arlington, won in Europe, Germany. So
Um, yeah, Lynn used to have all those Arabians and
yeah, not anymore.
Delaware stopped having
Yeah,
Arabians.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
So no more
but
Arab races here.
so but the riding took you like all over Europe, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was really fortunate. Like I recommend it to any younger person that is interested, because I was able to go to Norway, Sweden, um, England, and when I went to England that a summer during law school, I just stayed there for the summer and rode
Mhm.
out and rode a couple races, and so you get exposure to European culture and history, and but also uh, seeing their methods of training and the
Mhm.
way everything, it's a lot different, the
Mhm.
way, as um, a lot of different nuances of it, but some of it you can take to learn from that is better, you know
Mhm.
it's just you've been places, so I've been to France and Switzerland, Germany, Canada.
Mhm.
So and you get to travel a lot and see the world a bit without a huge expenditure, and get to ride the races in other countries and meet friends, and it's a very sporting thing. It's obviously not for pay. You don't get paid, but it's a very sporting thing that I really enjoyed.
Is the amateur rider like circuit or whatever, is that more built out in Europe than it is here?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
manyfold. Uh,
Uh-huh.
France runs the Fagentry, which is kind of the leading
Hmm.
uh, world organization. There's the Fagentry World Cup every year, where the a rider selected from each country that participates, and then they ride in a series of races all season, and uh, just most of the races are in the U.S. And there's just, I think racing's a little more in the culture there,
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
England, France, even Germany. Um, then it's it's more, I mean, kids there go to school um, uh, for racing. Here they don't go to college. Like there they'll send you to school. Like, say, I was in France for a year. I went there and stayed. They
Hmm.
have like two or three different racing schools, and the kids go when they're like 17 or 18, like at the end of what would be our high school,
Hmm.
and it's like a 2 year sort of post high school thing, and they learn how to ride. So everyone's learning how to ride. But they learn everything, the anatomy. They have internships, so they have schools that promote the next generation of the workforce.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I also think they don't have, like, racing is like the main thing for gambling. I mean,
Hmm.
maybe they can bet on soccer, but they don't have like apps all over their phones for gambling, and they don't have like casinos everywhere.
Hmm.
So I think they embrace the racing sport there,
Hmm.
more a bit more than we do, and maybe that's why there's more amateur racing there than here.
Yeah, I remember it's 20 years ago now, but being in Ireland and a jockey had been suspended but it was a well-known jockey. Like we would know who it was if I could remember the name, which I can't. But that was like, you know, top of the newspaper. Like the lead
Yeah. Oh
headline
yeah.
was this guy
Yeah.
was suspended. It was like, I was like, they could suspend Jerry Bailey, Pat Day, and five other top jockeys in America, and wouldn't even it'd be like page 30 of the sports
Yeah, maybe right. It would only be on the racing media. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be in like the Washington Post or the, right there. It's more right on the sports pages. You're right. Like we don't even have the Post used to have the Laurel entries and results every day. The Sun, they don't even have the results and entries anymore. Much less maybe Derby Day they have, and Preakness Day they have an article or two.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more competition for that gambling dollar, I guess.
Yeah, well, that doesn't help. That's for sure. So you said you learned some things that you could bring back and use here, there. What's an example of something?
I'd say in terms of galloping horses and training they gallop a lot more straight there. There's not a lot of turns and they jump right into speed. It's not always like slow gallops. They do a lot less like workouts, like and they're not obsessed with time, like like okay 48 or they're just they give them a good run every day and hope preferably up a straightaway. And so you can't always get those options here, but when you can, just keeping in mind some of the ways they do it there, I think it helps, and even just like the way the horses are, it's like simple things, but like this Irish bred filly I have, she'll walk through any puddle of water. Like they teach their yearlings and everything over there, like to jump and to walk through water. It's like we're like so protective of them. We just teach them, like, not everyone, but it's nobody's fault, but we teach them how to get around these left-hand turns and change their leads on every. I don't worry if the horse doesn't change its leads anymore, especially when it's going slower. I mean, maybe if it's picking it, and it's like some problem, but I'm not throwing them around anymore. They don't force the leads over there, and I just think they teach them to be more of like a overall horse, like than just like get to the track, back up to this, and go around once. And there's a lot of different gallops over there, options, and so so it's subtle but different.
So you come back to the States and eventually you take out your trainer's license and your first horse wins.
You mean when I first got my trainer's license
in 05?
Oh yeah. Oh right. That was right. I 05 got the license, and first horse, a friend had been training it while I was doing law and not involved with horses, and I started training her. One Genius was her name. And we went to Colonial, we went all the way down there. She had never run on turf, 7-month layoff, mile and an eighth, stepping up from 75 to life to 15 to life. And she won and paid $215.80. Yeah, everybody laughs when I tell them that
106 to 1.
Yeah, 106 to 1. 106 to 1. And I bet her. I only
did
had 10.
You really?
I did. I was with a friend, and I'm like, and she said, you better go bet, because this horse is doing well, and if you don't, so I bet. I think I got like $1,500 back for betting 10 and 10.
Were you confident? I mean, did you feel good?
I thought she couldn't have been, but I'd never started a horse, I didn't know. I mean, but all I knew was she was just training like perfectly. She was just training really well. So I wasn't really that surprised she won. I mean, a little bit, like, sometimes you're always surprised when you win, but it didn't, it kind of made sense, like that she won. So that was quite fun. And then it wasn't always, you think it's going to be easy, but it wasn't always that easy, right?
Well, it's kind of like, one of the first horses you're grooming is Paradise Creek, who's going to go on and be a champion.
Yeah,
First
yeah,
horse you
yeah.
send
Or
out
like,
wins and pays
you know,
$215.
yeah, like when when we had Brickell that won that stakes race off the claim, you think it's going to be easy like that all the time, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So you claimed Brickell for what, like 10,000?
10, yeah, yeah. For Harry Cassett, my good friend, and then he won. No, he ran twice that fall when we claimed him. Then Harry wanted to run him in the Henry Clark. I wanted to run him in like a starter allowance. We went in the Henry Clark, and he won. You know,
And he
and
was
again,
50
the
to
horse was
1.
doing great. Yeah, yeah, he was just doing really well, and he needed that layoff. He got his back was bothering him just a little bit, and he just really was
Mhm.
doing well. He just got right for that day. He got on top of his game for that day, and
Mhm.
so that was quite a day.
Did you bet?
Yeah.
Um, what happened to Brickell then down the road?
Uh,
Did
I
you
think
did he get claimed from you, or?
no, he was retired, and then he actually was a intact stallion, and he was really nice. I mean, deputy minister out of a half brother to like a $1 million winner, and he was really nice looking. So I think he became a stallion, but not of racehorses, like sport horses.
Oh,
Like
oh.
he actually I heard he was like he would be in a field with the mares. He had like a band of brood mares, and
Mhm.
the old school, I guess, natural way, and he just bred his mares when it was like nature said to do it.
Huh.
I never heard of that, but I thought that
All
was
right.
pretty cool. I was like, yeah,
That is
Brickell, there you
pretty
go,
cool.
man. I think he had a band of mares that he lived with in his field.
Nice. That's kind of
Yeah.
every guy's pseudo dream, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now, a favorite of yours who became a pony for you was Lonely Whistle,
Yes. Yes. Who
who you
he
you bought as a yearling, right?
I bought him as a 2-year-old.
As a
Close.
2-year-old.
Yeah. At
Yeah.
Timonium. And he was the last horse in the sale. He had one eye. He had his left eye. And he had been a $13,000 weanling purchase. I think he was going to be a 20 or 25,000, but with the one eye, he went for 6,000, and he just
Mhm.
ended up being like a really, really cool horse, as you know. You everybody liked him at the track. He was around there. It was like 11 or 12 ponying. He ran till he was like 10 or 11, and he
Mhm.
was stakes placed in some open stakes. He won the Old Nelson at Colonial, and just super cool. And I still own him, and he's 20.
Do you really?
And I do, and
Where is
I'm
he?
not selling him. He he he's at a riding school in Baltimore County where the owner gives lessons to the younger people, mainly the
Hmm.
girls. Uh, have some of them have their own horses, but most of them just use a few horses she has there to as lesson horses. So he's a lesson
Hmm.
horse,
Hmm.
and he's really good at it. He's like the best one they've ever had, and he just goes through all the obstacles, even if some girl like is just throwing the reins away and doesn't know. He just knows what to do. And like I heard stories like that the girls sometimes fight over who gets to ride him.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, they all want to ride him, and I hear there was like fights there the other day. The girls were, but so he's got a good home and with a good person, Rebecca Briggs, who has the facility in Baltimore County. Does
Nice,
a nice job.
nice. So we always like hearing about horses getting a soft landing.
Yeah. I actually just sold her. I think I just gave her Lonely Whistle on like just a free lease year to year, and she's just had the horse for like. But I sold her a horse I had that last year, and just because I knew the horse was kind and gentle and like the best mannered horse like ever. It was a filly, and I sold her to her, and immediately she said, "This is a really." I think it was going to be a good horse for her program, a small horse for the younger people, and so yeah, it's nice when you can sort of figure out where's a good place for them, and right, like you say, get them a soft landing and a good home.
Yeah,
That's kind of the important.
yeah. No, it's really important, and
Yeah.
kind of the whole industry gets a black eye every time a horse ends up in a bad situation.
Yeah, that's true. So
So
there's a responsibility there, though, to the horse after it starts, you know, uh, not performing, where it's not worth it anymore to race it. You gotta try to, like you say, get. It's almost like a duty, I think, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. No, I agree. Now you're a Maryland guy. You were stabled in Maryland for a long time, but now you're at Delaware. What led you to Delaware?
Well, let's see. The last I was in Laurel was 2018, and then I was still in Maryland. I went to Fair Hill in 2019, but I was starting to just look for a change. You get a little burnout on the industry, and I went to Fair Hill, tried that. It was okay, and then I just burned out a little bit during COVID, and I stopped training in 2020 and just traveled across country for like uh, several months with my dog. Sold my house, sold everything in the house, and it was great. It was like really liberating. Like get in the truck with like a couple bags of clothes, a laptop, some camping stuff, and a dog, and have no house, no nothing, just buy, and then
Did
that
you
was.
read? Did you read
Pardon?
Travels with Charlie while you were doing this?
I did. My mom got me
Attaboy.
that book, and I read it while I was traveling. Yeah, Steinbeck. Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. Yep. But it was neat, to go the West. I'd never been really to any of the West Coast very much, beyond a couple times skiing and this and that, and all those national parks there.
Aren't they
And
amazing? Where'd you go?
I went to kind of went across a northerly route in the way out there because it was summer and to keep it. So I went up through Michigan into the to northern part of Michigan. So there were some parks there, and then when you start to get through Wisconsin on the other side into the Dakotas, that's when you start to hit like some of the real like Badlands was there.
Mm-hmm.
In I think that's North
Isn't that a
Dakota.
strange place?
Yeah. What a wild, like you've never seen anything like these places in your life, and
Yeah, the Badlands to me is it's like a lunar landscape. It's
I
so
know
beautiful.
it was incredible and captivating, and then I really started to enjoy the reading the plaques and everything, or the pamp about what actually how it was formed, and
Mm-hmm.
people were living on growing agriculture on top of those.
Mm-hmm.
So they flattened some on some of the, and I think part of that's for like defense too. Um, and I just started to like enjoy the history of everything I read. And so anyway, I made it all the way out through Montana and Idaho and all the way out to Washington to Olympic Park, Olympia or
Uh-huh.
Olympic, whatever they call it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah. That's fun.
and then I started to head south through and then hit the redwood trees in
Mm-hmm.
California,
Yep.
which is amazing. And then started to head back into the Rockies and traveled like down the Rockies to all the way to like Utah. And Utah had the best national parks within like a close proximity of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember the names of them, but there was some.
Well, there's Bryce and Zion that are real close.
Yes, yeah. And there's one that has like mountains of sand. You
Mm-hmm.
heard it? Or maybe that was in Colorado, but it had like 600-foot mountains of sand, and the rest of the landscape around there's just normal grass and things. It was like
Yeah.
all these rocks, like a million years ago, like disintegrated and blew into these, made these. And people like it was a tough hike up to the top. The air was
Mm-hmm.
cooler and the sun's stronger up there. It was that,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
people were like riding like snowboards down the sand. It was wild, So, I really started to get interested in the history of who lived there 15,000 years ago and all that.
Right.
So it was kind of neat.
Yeah. No, that's very cool. I did the driving across country thing years ago, like 30 years ago, but it was it was a cool experience. And
Yeah. Especially during COVID, you just get
not too many people around, right?
Yeah. Well, actually out west, the campsites were just all booked and full because a lot of people doing what I were doing. They're just like, I can't do anything, so let's just go to the parks and just get outside and travel and camp and it was one thing you could do was go camping still.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah.
So what got you back to racing then? So you left, you were sour, you traveled. What brought you back?
Yeah. Well, I was just I kind of about a year doing that, and then I like I mentioned, I was kind of looking for a little something different. I was a little burned out on the whole sport, and I went to France for about a year, and I went to Chantilly, which is it's about 18 miles north of Paris, and it's the largest training center in France. It's there's really only two left there that are the big ones. The one in Normandy, it escapes my mind, but the Paris, there's a track there, and there's the training gallops. There's 29 different gallops, wood chip, turf, dirt, fiber sand, like a 2-mile turf oval that's really, really wide.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a 2.25 straight gallop through the woods, 2.25 miles straight.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
And most of the gallops, Frank, are like 1.125 miles straight.
Okay.
So it's really nice. You get in a rhythm and you're not hitting turns and they harrow. The other thing, they harrow the gallops there every half hour. You're always on fresh ground. Yeah, there'll be like a little light, like you can see, and if you're down at the bottom of the gallops, you got to wait till the red light goes off because that means the tractor's gone. So you might have to wait 5 minutes for the guy or something. But because but you're like, wait, how does that happen? Like with all these horses coming out, this is not like a break because you go out in like this yard has a set of 30 horses going out, so all 30 get there. And you're kind of like, maybe there's another lot coming behind you or something. But, if you got to wait a few minutes and then you go and you just go in a straight line, like 30 horses, one behind the other. And you go.
It's like when we see, like when Aiden O'Brien brings 10 over to the Breeders' Cup. And
it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's a lot like that. Yeah. They'll pick a leader, usually of the lot, like the more experienced horse will lead and set the pace. That type of thing. So it was quite a neat place. I mean, 1600s castle, huge, with a moat. The National Museum of the Horses there, the stables that the prince had with that castle have been, taken over by the French government and made into the National Museum of the Horse. They have uh, a lot of events there. The Chantilly has a race course too. There's a grade one. It's a pretty high level track. Longchamp is the big one where the Arc is, which is a really cool track. And I got to go to the Arc.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. They run that in October, I think.
Yeah, like you could come to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. The Arc's kind of like
once in a while somebody does that.
It's pretty well timed for that.
Yeah.
A lot of times the horse that's third or fourth in that comes here because I've noticed like some of the not the top European horses are coming here as much. There's still top European horses, but they're maybe like the horse that was third in the big race in England or third in the Arc is coming rather than the winners. And but so that was neat. I did work with horses there for about 6 months and travel for 6 months. So I got to go to Italy, Portugal, Spain, south of France. I had a bike, traveled around on a bike on the trains. And
can't bring a dog on a bike though.
No, the dog stayed back. That was but he had a good little dog sitter for the year. But now we're reunited.
Okay, good. What's the dog's name?
Buddy.
Buddy.
He's a beagle.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the Arc like? What was it like going to the Arc?
It was awesome. I went with the Irish guys. There's Irish guys wherever you go. Like, so I was riding out for one of them, and the other one was just getting his trainer's license, and the other one actually did like commentary for the TV. So we all rode there together from Chantilly, and that they just redid that grandstand, and they redid it, and it's like gold. It's like gold color. The whole thing is gold. A lot of the traditionalists didn't like, they paid some artist big money and all this stuff to figure it out. And the guy does it. And they some of the traditionalist people, a lot of them didn't like it. They're like, that's tacky. But I thought it was like super cool. It was really cool. I liked it. And it was just modernized. And the paddock is huge. I mean, absolutely huge. The walking rings. And the crowd was unbelievable, and the races were top notch. I remember the horse that won like the 7th furlong, grade 1, Space Blues. He came and won the Breeders' Cup mile, and I bet him in the Breeders' Cup mile. He was really nice, and good. Like my cousin visited his wife who was in Paris for the summer, and we went to a Saturday racing there where they had like a grade 1. It wasn't Arc Day. It was like, I don't know, in July or something. But they had like one grade 1. It was maybe like their third biggest day of the year, and they were having like a concert afterwards. And I mean, this place was like being at the Breeders' Cup, and my cousin and I are hanging out. He goes, they don't have anything like this in the United States. And he had been to a bunch of, maybe the dirt, but he had been to a bunch of Breeders' Cups. He's like, he said this blows away anything they have in the United States. So it was pretty fun, So it was neat.
When we were in Ireland, we went to the Curragh. We saw the Irish Oaks, maybe, but what we did that was way cooler than that was we went to, in Ireland, they move it around. Like, they'll do like 2 days here. Then
that's the same everywhere over there. England.
So we went to a provincial track called Ballinrobe, which was just like out kind of nowhere. I want to say it was in Mayo in the west of Ireland. And it was just like the whole town came out for it. And it was way cool. I bet it was cooler to go to the big day.
Hey, there's a book, and I don't know if it's by the same guy that wrote A Year in Provence, but anyway, there's a guy that got married to an Irish. He was a writer. He
Mm-hmm.
got married to an Irish lady, and they like lived in America and met it. And then she was going back to Ireland, and he went there, and he basically, she had the job and he didn't have a job. He's a writer, and he basically took a year and went like meet to meet every day of all the Irish
Oh, really?
racing
Oh, how
trains.
cool.
And I mean, in the winter to the jump races, and
Uh-huh.
so he'd be at these small tracks most of the time, taking the trains. Like I had to walk like 3/4 of a mile in the snow, but you finally get there. You go to the Guinness bar, this little meet. If you can
Right.
find that book, it was
Yeah.
such a great. It's just what you're talking about. But he
I
did it
gotta
for a
track that
year.
down. That is very
Yeah, I think
cool.
they lived in with Dublin, but
Uh-huh.
he would take trains every day to wherever the race meeting was.
That's
and
so much
and then he
better than
wrote
working, isn't it?
yeah, but then he wrote a book about it, so I guess he kind of worked but I think he went to the Guinness bar every place he went.
Well, you
It
got
was a
to.
good
You're in
book. If you
Ireland.
can find that, or if I can find it, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll see if I can
Excellent.
track it down. That's a good tip. Thanks. Um, so you're at Delaware. You got two horses now, but you're a Maryland guy. I did want to ask you, what's your take on what's going on in Maryland these days? A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
stuff going on, but what's your
I mean,
take on it?
I love the people in Maryland. You know, everyone in the offices down to the people that work on the trainer friends I have there. But I like Delaware better because of the training facilities. I guess you could say I like the backside here. There's just more room, more
Mm-hmm.
grass. It's not. I have kind of my own barn here. I'm way in the back in the quiet, and it just works for me better. They have a turf gallop here,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's kind of central for Penn, Laurel, Monmouth,
Sure.
and I really I've started to stay out of the politics of Maryland. You know,
Probably a wise
yeah,
decision.
yeah, yeah. So, but I mean, I just see that the summer racing's been cut. I mean, I understand, um, and Pimlico's in under construction, and I mean, I think it's made sense that the state bought Laurel. I mean, why build a new training facility when you have everything a mile and an eighth track right
Yep.
there?
And a
I
big
mean, it
turf
needs
course.
some improvements with the barns, but you have an excellent training facility there. And, frankly, um, I know the plans called for no racing at Laurel, all the racing at Pimlico, but maybe this would leave the door open to, since we talked, I'm like, well, we talked about maybe they could race at Laurel. Like, what about all grass meets in the spring and fall?
Mm-hmm.
Because Pimlico is probably going to have a much narrower turf course, not be able to
No, it is. Yeah.
accommodate
Yeah.
nearly as much turf racing. You get bigger fields on the turf. That's more bedding. That's more potentially revenue for the fund the purse account with the more betting on bigger fields. And like Colonial has big field, so maybe they could have do something with it with racing down the road. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, no, it makes sense. I would think they're almost going to have to because, as you
I
said, I
think
mean,
so.
you're going to be able to run basically two, maybe three turf races a day
Yeah,
at Pimlico. Right
yeah,
now, you're running five or six at Laurel because you can run on two different courses each day, whereas Pimlico, you're always
yeah,
going to be limited
yeah.
to one
And I
course.
mean,
So,
and you sort of, it's like, well, the horses are gonna most of the horses are gonna 80. I would figure like 80% of the horses are gonna be at Laurel anyway. Like,
yeah,
why not just race them in Laurel if you're gonna leave it open? So I don't know. I the
yeah,
powers that be know that, but I just think that why not utilize those grass courses um to benefit the field size and you
hmm
know please the horsemen, because obviously the grass race fields are larger, so people must like to run on grass, I
yeah.
suppose.
They must have
So
grass horses. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah. No. We will see. Interesting times.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is.
So, all right. Well, Ted Maher, I appreciate your taking the time to visit
Right
with me
there.
here. Hope
Good to always.
hope you're gonna, hope we'll see your name in the entries a little more frequently going forward.
You might see both of them in there on Friday. The whole stable running Friday. So yeah, it seems to work out that way. That happened at Gulfstream in Florida. I had to run both of them the same day. One of them at Gulfstream and one of them at Tampa.
Oh no,
I had
really?
Yeah, they both finished second. I ran two horses that maybe they were both number two. So they both finished second. But yeah, there's some joke about like I forgot. I'm terrible with jokes, but it's like the guy. He's like, the five horses won this race and the this and that, and then he's won the first five races, and then the guy comes up and bets like $5 to win on the five, and he finishes fifth. So, but I'm so bad with Joe. It's something stupid like that. We got to cut that probably. But yeah, no, it was a pleasure. It's always good to speak with you, Frank, and see you. Even though it's virtual, we'll cross paths.
I'll catch you up at Delaware one of these days.
Yeah, man. Yeah, come on up.
All right,
we'll meet in the paddock and have a beer or something after the race.
That works for me. Hopefully we can meet in the winner's circle too.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I think you came up here like 15 years ago with your friend and filmed like a day with me at Delaware.
Oh
yeah, we were fourth that day. But that was pretty fun. I think you were like in the paddock and everything.
Yeah.
We'll have to have part two.
Part two.
Yeah. So, all right, buddy.
All right, thanks, Ted.
Next up, Frank talks with Delaware racing analyst Stan Salter on Midlantic Racing Today.
Hey, Stan, good to see you. You guys are running a little bit of tough luck there. We've had days canceled because of rain, because of heat, and now we're worried about air quality on Thursday. You could use a break up there in Delaware right now.
Yeah, I didn't do too good of a job predicting the weather last week. I said we were going to have nice weather. We'll be on the turf. Everything was going to be beautiful. We were having a beautiful morning. As soon as right when I got done the podcast, I started getting flash flood warnings on my phone. It's a monsoon here. We canceled after the first race and no turf after that all week last week. So hopefully we'll be able to get Thursday in. We're doing this Thursday morning. And then hopefully Friday and Saturday will be back to normal post time, and hopefully the weather cooperates. And we're on the turf for now, unless some crazy storm pops up or something. But we got three big turf fields for Saturday, so that's good. Saturday is a big 10 race card. We have a big it's a 10 race card, I believe. Friday, 9 today on Thursday, 10 on Friday, 10 on Saturday. First race post time 12:20, and the turf race is Saturday. Races 3, 5, and 7. Race 3 will be the start of the $3 all turf pick 3, and that's going to be a challenge in maiden 25,000 3 and up, going 7.5 on the turf. Looks like we have 11 in there with an MTO, so with a couple MTOs, so it looks like we'll have 9 going there. Then there's some horses on the AE. The odds aren't out yet for Friday. I'm just kind of looking over this right now. Lynn Ashby has a horse in there. The one, Andolin, has some early speed. Ran a big second against maiden special weight last October as a 2-year-old, going 7.5 on the turf. Just got beat that day. Ran a good 62 buyer. The 2 races this year, the first race, that was a 5 furlong race that came off the turf, and he just kind of galloped around there that day against Maiden Special Weight Company. Then his second race, they dropped him in for the Maiden 25,000 going long on the turf. He showed speed, then got a little tired at the 8th pole. That was going a mile 70. We're only going 7.5 on the turf here in race 3 Saturday. So the one, Andolin's going to show some speed. We'll see if he can get back to that good turf form he had last year as a 2-year-old. The 2, Leo's Foe, looks like a long shot. 3-year-old by Leo Fick, trying the turf for the first time. The 3's a main track only horse. The 4,
I think
plenty
the
on.
four
I'm
is
sorry.
four might get favored here. I'm guessing gonna take some action. The Tim Woolley horse, plenty on tap.
Yeah, Julio Hernandez aboard this 3-year-old by Tapiture. The horse has been a good second the last 2 times on the turf down at Laurel against Maiden 16,000. Looks like he's a deep closer, but he's paired up a couple 59 buyer speed figures with those 2 second place finishes. So yeah, he'll be tough. Julio's having a good meet. He's our second leading rider. So yeah, he's live here. Tim Woolley's won a race at the meet. He's a good trainer at Fair Hill. So you're right, Frank. I think the 4, plenty on tap's going to be one of the favorites and one of the horses to beat in this race at first glance. The 5's main track only. The 6, Hoppy got has been going short, trying the turf for the first time, trying 2 turns for the first time. Blinkers go on. Karen Wagner trains this 3-year-old by Opportunity. They have Vincent Chiminade named on this horse.
Yeah,
We'll
which
see.
is interesting to see if he's going to be here.
Yeah, we'll see if he's coming here Saturday. So that horse might be a price trying the turf for the first time. The Stidham horse was 40-1 for the debut down at Tampa. That was in Derek Ryan's barn. Didn't run well sprinting on the dirt at Tampa in a maiden special weight. Got beat 26 lengths. Now in the Michael Stidham barn, first time gelding, drops to the maiden 25, tries the turf for the first time. So you have to respect the Stidham barn. But that horse might be a little priced. Now Brennan owns that horse. Lynn Ashby also has the 8 in there. Rebel Prince, a couple turf tries recently, not so great. Carlos Mencia has a first time starter in there. The 9-7's good by Good Samaritan. That horse will probably be a price.
That horse
Anthony.
is a half to 7's 11, who was a multiple stakes winner and was second
Oh,
in the General George, but all
okay.
sprinting on the dirt. So
Right. Okay. All right, so we'll see how he does on the turf. Then Anthony Pecoraro has a 10, driven by Magic. Hasn't run too well on the dirt yet. 1/3 from 3 tries. Tries the turf for the first time. He'll be a big price. And then this outside horse, the 11 Queen, woke up and ran a big second at 94-1 last time at Laurel. That was late June in a maiden 16,000. Went to the front that day with Matilda Burnham aboard and just got beat. Tenacious. That was a dead heat for second.
yeah, huge
59 buyer
effort.
speed figures. That horse will probably be a decent price again. We'll see if he can back that big effort up at 94-1 last time. Did you have that horse in the exacta last time, Frank?
I sure did not, Stan, but I sure wish I did. Holy smokes, you don't see a lot of 94-1s coming in. All right, a lot of ways to go in the third. Let's move to the 5th. Stan is a starter for is this Never Win 2? Yeah, Never Win 2 starter allowance going long.
All right, yeah, we have looks like there's a field of 10 in here. Do I have that correct? I think we have 10 in here. And yeah, the 1 Saucy 6 ran a decent second at this level last time at Delaware, June 18th for trainer Robert Warner. Tajon Hazelwood to be on that horse. He was one of the favorites last time, so ran a 59 buyer speed figure. His last 2 turf tries here at Delaware have been pretty good. So the 1 Saucy 6 should benefit from a ground saving trip and be one of the factors in race 5. The 2 Some River for Justin Nixon rallied from far back to finish a decent third at 9-1 last time at Laurel, June 19th, in a 16,002 life. He's in a little tougher spot today. She's in a little tougher spot today. She's by English Channel out of a Sligo Bay mare, so some nice turf pedigree there. The 3 Music on the Rocks doesn't look too good at first glance. It did have a nice maiden score last summer down at Laurel, going 5.5 on the turf, rallied from far back, and then 3 turf sprints since then, and just 1 4th place finish. So that horse stretches out for to a route of ground for the first time. Mike Juralis, a good trainer down there at Laurel Park, and my main man Mark Lapidus owns this
Yeah,
horse. The
there
three
you go.
Music on the Rocks. Is Lapidus coming to Delaware on Saturday?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him since the end of the Laurel meet, but keep your eye open. You can always, maybe you could wrestle him into the paddock for a quick interview.
It'd be a good
Mark's
interview.
not big on that, but
Tell him to come on up here. I'd love to interview him. Yeah, so this horse could be interesting. Stretching out, doesn't look like the horse breaks very well. It breaks slow. Its last couple tries, going 5.5, so stretches out to a mile and a 16th now. A 5-year-old mare by Bourbon Courage out of a Bowman's Band mare. This mare was bred by my friends out there in Worthington Valley on Tufton Avenue, where they run the Maryland Hunt Cup. This is J.W.Y. Martin Jr. and his daughter Nancy, and then Nancy Roberts is his daughter,
okay.
and then Susie, I believe, is one of his farm managers. But they own Worthington Farm, which is where they run the Maryland Hunt Cup out there on Worthington Farm, and part of it on Belmont Farm. Yeah, it's been beautiful out there. You ever been to the Maryland Hunt Cup?
No, I got to get there. Have you gone?
I grew up out there. I grew up right in the middle of the race. But
Yeah.
the old stone house right in the front of Belmont Farm. I grew up there as a kid. We lived there from 79 to 86. That's where I learned to ride horses all over the countryside out there. The Green Spring Valley Hunt is a big time hunt association. They would hunt through Belmont Farm and Worthington Farm and all those farms out there, and then you got Butler right around the corner. Sagamore Farms right around the corner from Belmont
Right.
Farm. They're
Okay.
Belmont Farm and Sagamore Farm are actually neighbors. Yeah, Bruce Fenwick runs Belmont Farm for his father that passed, who was a war hero. He passed away a few years back. As far as I know, Bruce is still running Belmont Farm. Then, of course, his brother, Charlie Fenwick Jr., was the famous steeplechase jockey who won the Grand National over in England on Ben Nevis II, who also won the Maryland Hunt Cup a couple of years. So Dick Martin, who's the J.W.Y. Martin, him and his wife Glennie, Dick Martin, he won the Maryland Hunt Cup one year too. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. It's the Hunt Cup area, Maryland Hunt Cup area, Worthington Farm and Belmont Farm. They're right around the corner from Sagamore Farm. What's the latest on Sagamore Farm? Is it still for sale out there, or does someone buy it yet?
Yes. No, to my knowledge, it's still for sale. They
Still for
actually
sale.
made overtures to the state to try to get the state to buy it as a training center when the
No
whole thing
chance.
with Shamrock was falling apart. But
No chance. That's
state's moving on Laurel now. So
That's a gated private community out there. They got no chance of ever having a trail. That was the goofiest thing I ever heard people talking about Sagamore being a training center. Absolutely no chance. Not in that zip code. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
They bought Laurel, right? The state bought Laurel. That's going to be the
state
training
bought
center.
Laurel. Yep.
And they bought the rights to the Preakness, right?
And they bought the rights to the Preakness, so they've kind of wrapped everything up in a little bow now, and now we'll see what happens next. But they got all the pieces they need. So
this reminds me about one radio show I did. I didn't have any guests booked. I was just going to handicap the car. We had some carryovers and stuff. I started on race 1. I started with the number 1 horse, and I started talking about the breeding. And that led to one story after another, and that's the only horse I talked about the entire show. I didn't even get to the PPs. Once I got into the breeding and the farms and the stories behind all that, it was the only horse I talked about the whole show.
I love that horse. This race actually, we'll cut out of this race, but it's sort of an interesting race because you got these horses that have sort of the better buyer figures, have all raced like a million times. And then you got horses that figures aren't as good, but they've raced less, which in a 2-life race, you kind of want a horse that hasn't already lost 30 times, And so it's sort of an interesting, like how you put that together is going to be the kind of the challenge in this, the fifth race.
Good morning, Christian. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, it's the fifth race. You might need some coverage. There's some other nice horses in there, but we talked about the 3 music on the rock so much. I might have to pick that horse on top.
There you go. I do that to myself all the time, Stan. I talk myself into these horses. I start talking about why I think this horse might have a shot, and by the end of it, I'm like, this horse can't lose. So
there you go. Yeah, you got to be creative, and especially these big turf fields. All right, you got to be creative here in race 7. This is a maiden 16,000 filly and mares going a mile on the turf, and right away here on the front page, there's a couple horses trying the turf for the first time, and the Mike Gorham was a good second at this level last time with Matty Rowland aboard at 14-1. The 3 Don't Do It. So that should be a logical horse. That horse should be a factor. The Jamie Ness filly, the 4 Hotter Than Fires, run a couple decent races on the turf. That's a nice lightweight assignment on that filly, 111 with the 7-pound bug, Emmanuel Rosario aboard. So the Ness filly will be tough in there. My main man, Danny Eubanks, who won a race up here a couple weeks ago. He has the 6 Smoke Show trying the turf for the first time, a 3-year-old filly by Taproot. I root for Danny Eubanks. He used to be, his mortgage company used to be the sponsor of our early handicapping show down there in Maryland. And he's doing well as a trainer. Of course, he learned everything from his mom, Annette Eubanks, who's been a class act and a great trainer around Maryland for a long time. So we might get a decent price on the 6 Smoke Show trying the turf for the first time. So yeah, I might have to use my friends at big prices on Saturday in these big turf races. But it looks like the 3 and the 4, just looking at it real quick, the 3 and the 4 look like probably the 2 favorites in race 7.
I think one other horse going to get play is on the outside, one in from the outside for Tim Woolley. Hop to It, Gavin Ashton up. This horse has been second at this level twice at Penn National, and was a good second against Better at Laurel last fall. So I think that horse is going to get some play as well.
You know about the 15 Hop to It?
Yeah. Will that horse trying? Is it?
No, he's on the AE.
There's 100 AEs. I didn't realize
a lot. It looks like we got 6 AEs. There's 9, just 9 in the body, and then AEs 10 through 16 are all on the AE. So
I didn't realize that was all those were AEs. So yeah, never mind. Horse won't try. So
we'll save her for next time.
Yeah, that's right. Put it on the watch list. All right, Stan, I'm going to let you go. I know you got an early Thursday post 10:20. So $3 all turf pick 3 Saturday, races 3, 5, 7, pick 5s everywhere, all kinds of betting opportunities. And good luck, my friend.
All right, yeah, Big 10 race card. Hopefully we'll have some nice weather, and good luck to everybody. Have fun. Where are you at this weekend, Frank?
I might go out to Charlestown Saturday night and check out they got a stakes race and some nice allowances, and plan to come to Delaware next Thursday for the Dashing Beauty.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that should be a nice stake race. They got some nice nominations for that. That's next Thursday, so they'll take entries for that tomorrow and Friday. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. So looking forward to that. All right. Well, cool. We'll see you up here then, maybe.
Okay. Sounds good. Look forward to it. Thanks, Stan.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Have a good day.
Thanks to Stan Salter. Thanks to Ted Maher. And thanks most of all to you for watching, listening, and we hope liking and subscribing to Midlantic Racing Today. This has been Delaware Park Today. Midlantic Racing Today, powered by the Racing Biz, the racingbiz.com. And our Delaware Park Today episodes are presented by our friends at Delaware Park Racing and Casino. My name is Frank Vespi. We will be back next week with 3 more episodes of Midlantic Racing Today. Meantime, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you next time.